genauso wie unser nächster Kollege jetzt aus Quebec, Kanada, zugeschaltet ist. Da bin ich natürlich jetzt ganz gespannt. Please turn on your microphone. Das ist die Distillerie O'Delver from Quebec, Canada. Good evening.
Yes, thank you very much.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well, thank you very much.
Great. So what time is Quebec? I don't know. What is the evening, in the morning? I don't know. Sorry. What is your time now?
Oh, sorry. The time here is 11 in the morning.
11 in the morning. Yeah, sure.
So it's not too bad.
Yeah, that's great. Sounds good. So we are glad that you are here. So it's your main stage to present your gin. So we are very surprised. And so let's start it.
All right, let's do this. I just want to let everyone know who we are as a distillery. I'm Michael Briand, the co-owner of Dwyer Distillery, along with my other partner, Frederic Jacques. We started the distillery about 4.5 years ago. I have a background in engineering, and my partner has a doctorate in organic chemistry. And so we came together to try to make the weirdest kind of products that we can think of when we did this 4.5 years ago. Basically, we wanted to make the first wild mushroom gin in the world. And that's kind of tough because it hasn't been done before. So we didn't know what the tasting profile would be. We didn't know how it would react in the distillate when we would do it in a normal pot still with a gin basket. But we knew that's what we wanted. And so us being in our region in Canada, if there's one thing that we do have, it's forest, and there's a lot of space. And so with that, a lot of space and organic material, there are so many different kinds of mushrooms. We use 4 different kinds of wild mushrooms hand-picked in the forest. The chanterelle that we see here. And that's the mushroom that you'll see on the front label of our gin, because that's the mushroom that we use the most in our gin. We have the honey mushroom, which gives it obviously a sugary kind of flavor, more of an aroma than a flavor actually. The tubed chanterelle, which is very, very strong in terms of taste and aroma. So we use about 10 times less mushrooms with the tube chanterelle than the normal chanterelle. And then last but not least is the candy cap mushroom. In French, it's called lacta d'érable because it smells so much like maple syrup. And so all these mushrooms together, we found fit perfectly, because the first tries that I did before I met my partner, I was just soaking the mushrooms in vodka. Then I went to go see him for some help because I knew his background in organic chemistry. And Fred said, "Look, Mike, I know you want an organic mushroom gin. This is not going to work." And so I said, "Look, do as much as you can. If you can make this work, whatever mushrooms you need to do, whatever proportions, it's got to work, because the branding had already been done, the labels had been ordered, and in about 6 weeks, he found the perfect ratio to marry with the profile that we wanted. We kind of started the distillery on looking at names, and we wanted to integrate our company name with the products that we make as well. And so a lot of people ask, like, what does O'Dwyer mean? Well, Dwyer, it means black, and that's why we have black labels, black capsules. Even our whole building here is black t-shirts. So what that correlates to is we're doing a homage or a respect to the Irish settlers that came from Ireland to Canada, that were trying to make a better life for themselves from the famine in 1847, which is actually called the Black 47. And the potato famine, was actually caused by a mushroom. So everything is integrated at our distillery. We try to integrate, the brand of the company into each product that we make. And that's why we made a mushroom gin, is to bring everything back together to the historical, the Irish history in our region, which is called the Gaspésie, or the Gaspé Peninsula in Quebec. When we first started our gin recipe, we had ordered everything. We had realized that, okay, the ratios for our our mushrooms are good. It tastes really on point, exactly what we wanted to. We had cocktails set up, the cocktails that marry perfect with the mushrooms. And then we go to apply for the Alcohol Commission, which is called the SAQ. Only the SAQ can sell alcohol in Quebec. They said, no problem. We like the kind of product that you want to sell. And then about 2 days later, after we had ordered our bottles, our labels, everything, we get a call from the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, and they say we're not allowed to make a mushroom gin because the definition in Canada, they said it has to be, in the French, it's called aux substances végétales, and gin aux substances végétales. So a gin has to be vegetable substances. And as you probably know, well, a gin is not a vegetable, it's a fungus. And everything just stopped. I think I stopped breathing for about 2 minutes after they told me that. There we didn't know what to do. My partner Fred, him being a researcher in organic chemistry, he said, Mike, all we have to do is prove that it's safe. That's what they're scared of, being at the Food Inspection Agency. And so he wrote pretty much like a thesis all night long, having one baby in one arm. He has 4 children, and he was just writing. And what we realized during this research was, one, the people who wrote the definition of this Food Inspection Agency after the Prohibition in 1920, our argument was they considered mushrooms to be in the definition of what gin is, because mushrooms were considered fungus in 1960. So our argument was the people who wrote the definition considered mushrooms. And the second reason was the mushrooms that we use are not toxic, but if we were to use a toxic mushroom, the protein, which makes people sick in the mushroom, does not get carried in the distillate, which is the steam in the distilling process. So you can use the most poisonous mushrooms in the world and still people wouldn't get sick. So that's what our point was. And we sent that off to the Food Inspection Agency of Canada. About 3 weeks later, we were expecting 3 months or even a year before they would take a decision, but we were calling every day, 4 times a day. Finally, they were like tired of us. And they said, look, okay, we'll let you use mushrooms. You prove that it's safe, and also on the definition side. But if you do take mushrooms, it has to be from a certified mushroom picker. And we have my neighbor who helped me in the process of choosing which types of mushrooms would work. He has a company called Gaspésie Sauvage, where he has 80 harvesters or foragers that go out into the woods. And so he has an insurance and all this kind of stuff that without him and Gaspésie Sauvage, we wouldn't have been able to have the assurance with the Food Inspection Agency. So we were really, really happy. And about 2 weeks after that, the SAQ, so the Alcohol Board, the Alcohol Commission that makes the orders, they said, okay, O'Dwyer, you did your marketing, everything is ready to go. We'll make a first order of 1,200 bottles, because they knew it would sell, because we had started our marketing a year before. And they said, send us a few bottles because we want to test anyway, 3 bottles for testing. And we said, okay, so we ordered enough capsules, enough bottles for the order of 1,200 bottles. And we sent our 3 bottles away to them. And after they received it, about a week later or 2 weeks later, we get a call from the Alcohol Commission and said, we're going to cancel the order of 1,200 bottles. We're going to up it to 4,800 bottles. And we did not know what to do, because we had just ordered enough for that order. And I think the SAQ was testing us as well. But we had managed to find the right amount of bottles, a warehouse in Michigan, the capsules. We had my partner's wife, who was in her medical scrubs. She's a doctor, in her scrubs. My wife was pregnant. We had everyone, working overtime to get this order filled. And once that order was filled, and that was 4 years ago, it's been nonstop. And so now we're available in 4 other provinces as well as Quebec. And now that we have a stable production, we have employees, we're looking to branch off into other countries. And we know that Germany, there's a big mushroom culture as there is in Quebec. And this is a country that we really wanted to showcase our gin in, because we were on a television show, and there was a cruise that was coming from Germany, that they came here, and they came to the distillery and they loved our gin, and then they ended up buying a whole bunch. And so they said, when you're able to, please come to Germany, because there's not a mushroom gin on the market yet. And that was 4 years ago, and finally we're ready, and we're happy to share our passion with you guys. And so this is the first the first product that we made that I was talking to you about, the mushroom gin, the chanterelle on the top, and that was our first product for 2 years. We were doing everything by hand, and we just didn't have enough time to make other products. Once we installed the automatic a bottling machine, we were able to make other products. And so this is the second innovation that we have, which will be for sale in Germany, which is the aged mushroom gin. We age it in a rye barrel for 15 months. And we do a whole bunch of experiments. So when we started, we bought a tequila barrel, a rum barrel, even a maple syrup wood barrel, bourbon barrel. And what we realized is that the rye barrel and the bourbon, they're hands down, they stand out. But for me personally, the 15-month rye is an unbelievable gin. And in terms of cocktails, it's called a Godfather, that usually people will do with whiskey. They'll take an amaretto with whiskey. We'll do it with our gin with amaretto. The wood comes out unbelievably, with a dirty martini as well, with the olive brine. It marries perfectly. And this is just another innovation that we did. It's not a gin. I know this is a gin festival, but this is a maple syrup fermented product, where we age the product with a oak stick inside the bottle. So that's the next product that we will be delivering to Germany in the next few months. So that's the products that we have for now, and I'd like to invite you to check out our equipment and our warehouse and barrel storage place. So just come and follow me, and I'll show you what we do.
Oh, that's really not on.
So this is the pot still that we use. It's just 500 liters. We used it from the start. I had friends from university that designed it for us and did the welding even. We use a double loop system. Just to try and make us more efficient in the distilling process. So we put our neutral grain alcohol in here with the juniper berries and the coriander seeds, just like how pretty much everyone does. We use gin baskets up here, and I'll just grab the gin baskets. So we have gin baskets here, and we put the gin baskets up here. So then when we heat the pot still, the steam passes through the gin basket, and it takes all of the characteristics of the mushrooms, all of the aromas and the taste, passes through, and the distillate then gets condensed to a shotgun with cold water, and the distillate comes down. And so a lot of people ask us, like, how much mushrooms do we actually use? And a lot of people were wondering if we just use like an extract mushroom. But in reality, we have a 1/3 of botanicals that will complement the mushrooms in the volume of the gin. And then we'll have 2/3 of the volume of the gin basket of mushrooms, as you see here. And so normally a distillery will change the gin basket once per batch. Like they won't change the gin basket once, or maybe once. But in our process, we actually change it 4 times because the mushrooms are so subtle. We have to make sure that you know, if someone's buying a mushroom gin, that they're going to find those characteristics in the product. And so this is the pot still that we use and continue to use. And we just recently invested in some more equipment in order to supply the demand for our acai rum, so the maple syrup spirit that we're making, and also some whiskey that we'll be making in the future. But this is a normal standard pot still that you see here. And as you see, there's a gin basket in there as well. So when the demand does get more, we're going to be using this pot still. It's 3 times bigger than the small pot still that you saw. But since it's a steam operated double jacket pot still, it's about 6 times more efficient. As any distillery will say, it's anything that's steam operated, double jacket insulated, it's very, very efficient. Here are our fermenters that we just got installed. Before we were using like plastic 1,000-liter totes in order to ferment, and now we have 2,000 liters each fermenters that really help us make a quality base product, which we couldn't do before with our small little fermenters. So if you want to follow me, I'll just show you a few of our barrels that we have in the back.
Okay, da muss ich jetzt mal kurz schauen, woran es liegt, dass das Video hier gestoppt ist. Ja.
We use different kinds of barrels because we're just always experimenting. But this is the part of the distilling process that we love the most, is just doing experiments with aging. We think it's we think that's the future of gin, actually. You know, it always started out with moonshine in the whiskey industry, and then people started to age. And now the Scotch and whiskey industry, it's its own demographic. And so we think the future of gin is aging. And so we're really happy to share that with you guys today as well. Do you have any questions? Is anyone there? We'll go back to the office.
Oh, so
hello. Yes, I have a question.
Slowly. Yeah, there's a question. So give us 1 second. So here we are, because it's Ralph here. Ralph is our partner from Craft Spirit Festival too. So we have some questions from the audience, and yeah, our own questions. So thank you very much, Michael. So
yes.
Yeah. Yes. Hi, Michael. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much for your very well and good explanation about the distillery. It was emphasized. It was to be emphasized that it was very special, and for us also new how you did it. Thank you very much once again. And we have some questions to put forward to you. The first is, of course, now we want to drink what comes out of your distillery. Where to buy in Germany? Can you tell us, please?
Yes, there's a store. It's called Melodies Canada, and she has a website. I'll be posting it. On our Facebook page and with you for people to be able to taste our product. We sent a couple cases, but we have 2 pallets ready to send out whenever the transport truck can come. So we have everything ready. Everything is labeled. Even we have the European standard pallets that we use to ship. And so they'll be ready to send out on a boat. And the couple cases that we sent by plane. And so they got there yesterday, and they're supposed to be delivered this morning.
I see. So thank you very much. So please come around inside the chat after your interview, and possibly you can put in the address and how to reach your it was your colleague, you said, in Berlin, correct?
Yes, exactly. Her name is Melody, and she has a store boutique. And I'll put her link in the text box.
Would be nice. Also, you can do it tomorrow again, and the day after tomorrow. As you know, we are 3 days here at the festival, and of course. But while talking about drinking your gin, how to mix it? What is your favorite tonic for it?
The favorite way that I love to make our gin, if we're just going at something relaxed with friends and family, is a dirty martini. Like, it's not complicated. Everyone can do a dirty martini. It's just olive juice, a small little bit of artisan vermouth, and our gin. And so we find that that marries perfectly with the mushroom, because you don't want to make something that will overpower the mushroom. You want it to be complementary. And so a lot of the standard tonics that we saw that are on the market, the purpose of a tonic was to hide the taste of the alcohol, because alcohol used to not taste very good. And now with the industry, people are making amazing quality gins. And so the standard type of gin tonic that we would see it's obsolete. And so it's trying to find a tonic that will marry good with the mushrooms, which are very, very subtle. For example, if you do use Schweppes tonic, the standard Schweppes tonic, you just have to put a lot of gin. And so it's a win-win situation too.
Understand, but you're just bringing up the next question to us. Talking about a lot about the mushrooms and the mixing. We also have a slot called food pairing.
Yes.
And, what do you suppose? What would be a good pairing with your gin?
Cucumber goes very well with our gin. The freshness of the cucumber, and since it's not very fruity or sugary, obviously, we wanted something a little bit earthy, and so the cucumber goes very, very well with our gin. We do like long slices of cucumber in a long Tom Collins glass, and we'll put soda water with our gin. And that goes perfectly. And so that was a challenge too, is trying to find a fruit or a vegetable that just wasn't overpowering. And I found that there's so much water in cucumber that it is in fact very subtle as well. So it marries perfectly together.
I see. Thank you very much. It's also cucumber. It's also mixed with others here in Germany, so it's familiar to us already. But
yes.
Talking about Germany, one step beyond to Canada, you are coming from Quebec, and we just wanted to know also something about your home city. Is there a big community drinking gin, or how is it? Please tell us a little bit about.
Well, when we started the distillery, the reason why I wanted to start the distillery is because there was no alcohol producers other than beer in our region. And so I said, there's so many people that appreciate artisan products in our region. There are so many people that really like to drink artisan alcohol. And I just couldn't believe that there was no distillery. And when I was in university, we learned how to distill there. And I said, look, we'll start a distillery here. And just the fact that we're the first one, I think we'll get a lot of visibility. And so when we started the distillery, we were welcomed with open arms, basically, by the community. And so whenever we do a launch of a new product, we open the distillery, the garage door. We have people coming to do taste testings, and that's what we do when we try to make a new product. Is we include as many people as we can, because our region is very isolated, and we are 10 hours away from Montreal. We are 8 hours away from Quebec City, and we're a small town, about 5,000 people, and so we have that sense of community in Gaspé, and that's what we use within the creation of our products.
Oh, very nice. Thank you very much for give us an impression about how it happened. It's very nice. We have another question out of the audience.
Yep.
They ask, it's regarding the aged gin. How long do you usually leave the gin in the cask, and which kind of cask do you use?
Right. So we use normally we use an oak barrel, which is a medium charred oak barrel that we'll use. And honestly, the reason since we started, we've been just doing experiments on different types of barrels that would go well with our gin. And so we just unbottled a tequila barrel, which we found was amazing at 70%. But then when we diluted it to 43, it lost a lot of its charm. So maybe we'll age it for 2 years, and we'll try to find that charm that we had lost. But for the gin product, aged gin product that we're most impressed with is a rye barrel. So we have a Canadian whiskey barrel, which is Canadian whiskey is very, very popular in Canada. But it's rye based along with barley, so those two come together, and it has a very distinct flavor. Crown Royal is a rye, and so we take barrels from a Canadian whiskey, and we wash our barrels for about a week's time in water. So what a lot of distilleries will do, so they don't want to lose the preceding flavors, they'll just put their gin in right away. We didn't want our aged gin to be a slush. We didn't want it to taste like a rye with notes of gin. We wanted it to be the opposite. And so we washed it with water for about a week's time, and then we put our gin in. And yes, we do have to age it for a little bit longer, but we find that it stays as a gin with notes of the aging preceding product that we desired. And so as of now, rye and bourbon are the best tasting, but for me personally, the rye barrel is it's outstanding.
I see. So thank you very much. Very detailed explanation. Thank you, Michael. I have another question out of our audience. It seems you are you're having something special with your mushrooms. The people are very keen on to know more about it. The question is, how would you best describe the taste of mushrooms in your gin, especially when it comes in combination with the tonic?
Well, that's one thing that we were very surprised about when we first started to do our experiments, is that we were just expecting an aroma because I really love cooking with chanterelle mushrooms, with honey mushrooms, and so we were just expecting an aroma to come out. But what we realized is that the taste, when you're tasting the gin, you'll taste each mushroom differently on a timeline. And so you'll have the aftertaste of the honey mushroom and of the candy cap mushroom, very, very sweet, which continues to salivate. But right at the start, you're going to taste the chanterelles. And so, and the tube chanterelles. And so you have on a timeline, you're going to taste different things. And so how it marries with the tonic, you can't put much tonic in, to be honest with you. If you want a little bit of tonic, so the kind of citrus aftertone, you'll have to kind of use a lot of gin in order to taste that. And so how you taste the mushrooms with the tonic is basically you'll have to put a lot of gin in, but you'll realize how it marries with the citrus part of the tonic used. And so we don't really drink a lot of tonic with our gin because you have to use a lot of gin.
Okay, so another question which comes up to me. Your advice is to put in some mushrooms inside the drink. I mean, possibly dried mushrooms.
Yep. We experimented putting mushrooms actually in our bottle to sell with an actual chanterelle in the bottle. The thing is that it especially with a dried mushroom, it flakes off. and so you'll have little bits of mushroom everywhere.
Yeah.
But you'll be surprised when you start when you buy a bottle and you'll taste it. You'll realize that you'll really taste the mushroom, and it'll be a surprise. And so what I do when I do use a tonic, I'll put gin, let's say 1 ounce of gin, 2 ounces of soda water, and then 1 ounce of tonic. And so that in that way it marries perfectly together, I find.
Oh, thank you. Receipt also. Thanks, Michael. Very nice.
Michael is a great guy with the great mushrooms. I never heard it before in Germany. I don't know. You know gin with mushrooms? I don't know.
Never heard before. Very special. Very special.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So my question is, Michael, what is your next project? What are you looking for? What is the next special?
Well, the next very special. Well, we have 2 special things. It's the maple syrup fermented spirit, and so instead of using a molasses for a rum or a sugarcane, we actually use maple syrup. And so that base spirit, it tastes between a grappa and a tequila, which is very interesting. And we put a piece of barrel inside the bottle, so it ages inside the bottle. The next product that we have is actually a cream liqueur, where we use candy cap mushrooms, which taste like maple syrup, to give the flavor. To give it the flavor of our cream liqueur. So the cream liqueurs taste like maple syrup and caramel, and there is no caramel extract or maple syrup extract in the product. And so that with that tasting profile, we don't have to put extra sugar in. And so people are able to taste, to drink more than 1 glass of our pudding stone, which is called, and they're not going to be full because it's not full of sugar, our product. And so those are the 2 experiments that we did, and that worked out really well.
Oh, great. So maybe last question, because I know sorry, the time has gone fast. So, but we have no Christmas time, and for me, as a question is, could the gin crash the wild food? This is a positive sense, you know? Is it possible? Sure, right?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Yeah, you can the gin. You can crash it in the wild food. Let's say what we say in Germany, for example.
So what Jeff said is it's Christmas time, and a lot of families they're having the special meals on the dishes. And on the tables, you're looking into the forest and for a rabbit or something else, possibly a pig from a wild pig. Possibly it was his idea. This gin with the mushrooms could crash inside this and be better than a red wine for the meal. You know.
Yeah, that's a food pairing.
It is a good pairing, and there's something that we're in Canada that in Gaspé, where we're from, is that we're big hunters, and we hunt a lot of moose, and we hunt black bears and all this kind of stuff. And I cook wild meat with my with the radun, with our wild mushroom gin, and I find that it goes really well together.
Great. So
great. Thank you very much, Michael. This was a very good, very good. What you are recommending. It's a positive vibe which you are sending over the ocean, and we hope your gin will be settled here in our shops.
I'm sure.
So you're listening to the specialist. This is a real good idea, and we wish you all the best for your next projects. And one thing to mention here is, as you possibly know, our festival will put forth other alcohols. Also with your grappa, which you mentioned, could be in the next year also a contribution here in our Craft Spirits Festival. Thank you very much.
I'd love to present it.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
See you later, maybe.
See you later. Bye.
Okay.